guys. Welcome back to another Attachment Point News Roundtable. I got Andrew Wynn with Ascend here, who has been
Hey,
kind
Brett.
enough to talk to me about a few things. And, how you doing, buddy? Good to record something, actually. Thanks for letting me talk to you guys a little early on, too, about the product.
No, appreciate it. And thanks for having us on today.
Yeah, of course. And these things are helpful because even ahead of time, I'm like, premium finance, premium finance. And Andrew's like, we do more, Brett. We're not just premium finance. Stop pigeonholing us. Yeah. So, but welcome, man. You're on a tear. Getting the product together quick, getting the team together quick. I saw you're getting some founders together in SF. I'm jealous that I not ran to Palm Springs and Vegas recently. I tried to go up there and bug you guys too, but dude, good job building community and coming out the gate fast. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And you're always welcome at any event we have, of course, you know that. So would love to see you at the next one for sure.
I appreciate that. But yeah, thanks for bringing me in. So I got to talk to Andrew's team pretty early on about premium finance, where personally, I don't know if I feel the pain enough because I have like 3 clients on it. I need to make my brokerage bigger. We have some clients, but my buddies who work with contractors who have nice books of business, they're like, that is something that can be improved, and I kind of had kept that hat on. And it was fun to hear that you guys are touching, carrier side, broker commissions, payments,
Yep.
I was
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly right.
no, if we can make things simpler, I kind of feel like you don't want to introduce tech for the sake of introducing tech, and you don't want to just ride some like fad of like, let's use blockchain or RPA just so we can say it's there. But if you can make life simpler, if you can catch people up, I think that's where the gold mine seems to be.
That's exactly right. And I think, for us, the goal has always been, how can we help people? How can we help folks who sell insurance sell more insurance and sell insurance better? People, as you know better than anyone, people spend a lot of time doing a lot of stuff that's not actually selling, right? And so we think the role of insurtech should be to, help folks sell more policies rather than, try to replace them or anything like that. So really enabling people to sell more.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I think like when all this is done right, it's actually going to fall in the background and it's going to be that much more of a relationship business, which
Yep.
I think is really fun. And yeah, I was talking to the coder guys about yesterday about like the black box, and kind of making the data something that we're not afraid of, showing people that like data transfers are no different than like Accord forms,
Yep.
We're just putting everything online. But that's cool, man. So how long have you been on the journey with Ascend? When did you guys unofficially set sail, and when did you say, all right, we're doing this, and kind of walk out the door and start making noise?
Yeah, so maybe I'll give a little bit of background on what Ascend does first, just to get everyone on, make sure we all know what we're talking about. So Ascend is an all-in-one payments platform purpose-built for insurance. What that means is we handle customer payments, and so if a customer needs to pay online, obviously we can do that, and we also offer premium financing at point of sale where the policy is eligible. So you as a broker can just send our links to your customers. They can just pay in full with their credit card or ACH or whatever, or they can do point of sale premium financing, and we're that premium finance lender. So we handle it from there. It's all totally branded to the customer. It doesn't look like they've ever left. It's not some third party, because it already gets confusing, right? There's already a little bit of alphabet soup in insurance of we're buying a Chubb policy from Brett, and now we have another company financing it, right? It gets very complicated. So we brand it to you, and it's your customer, right? Like, again, we're an enabling business. We want to help you sell more. We don't need to get in that mix. And so anyway, once either the customer's paid in full, or we can handle rate plans, all that kind of stuff too, or they've premium finance for us through us. We then take that premium and sort of get rid of the problems traditionally associated with agency bill. So we can handle the commission splits, right? So we can say, great, the seller commission on this is 10%. Here you go, 10% straight to your operational account. You don't have to worry about taking all the premium into your trust account and then splitting it out and then doing the wholesaler payable, right? We handle commission split, and then the carrier payable, making your life a lot simpler. And you kind of get all the benefits of agency bill, and that you get to own your customer, you get to be that touch point with them, you get to get your commission right away. But the convenience of direct bill, where ultimately, you're not having to do all the work associated with collecting payment. So we think Ascend is really in the sweet spot of those two paradigms that exist today, and actually give the best of both.
And then for the layperson, just in case there's anybody tuning in who's maybe on the investor side or the industry side, the premium financing docs almost look like credit card bills, and the way it's done today is very like archaic. You know, you're typing on PDF, you're sending something in. It's almost like setting up a W-9 combined with like a direct deposit form combined with like credit card bills. And if you start having like 300 clients, like I could see why my buddies hate it and are like, we need something better. I have like my 3 clients, you know.
That's exactly right. And like financing should be is a way to reduce purchase friction, right? Ultimately, like, you know, more people buy cars because they can you know, finance a car. And so we think the same is true of should be true in insurance. So, you know, we all know that there's people who are underinsured or they're not opting into the coverages they need because of the cost. So if we can actually reduce that friction through financing, we think we can help people get the coverage they need. And I would argue that a lot, to your point, of the complication to traditional premium financing, I would argue that today it actually adds friction in a lot of cases. And it, you know, it might like save a sale where someone could never buy the insurance without premium finance, but it certainly doesn't help more people, you know, buy insurance, buy the right amount of insurance.
And then, you know, just to kind of delve further on the agent side of it, you get like the notices of cancellation, then you got to see if you can get it rebound, and then it's the same client every month that's doing it. And then when you're a new agent, it gets a little scary too, because you're like, oh, what happens if they just don't pay this thing? Like, is this falling back on me? I already got my commission. So yeah, dude, there's a whole headache and paper trail. You guys alone are probably saving multiple trees. You can do that, you know. Get rid of all those billing statements.
Yeah, for sure.
On the website, for every X number of clients, we save a tree.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, not to delve too far down this rabbit hole, but that's like the most bland mail too. You start getting those like just really opaque, just like white envelopes, one sheet of paper in it. And I couldn't imagine if I had 300 customers shaking that stuff out.
Totally. And so, you know, one other thing we do is like, I call it just e-commerce 101, right? Or like on internet 101, we, you know, as the payments company, give you as the distributor insight into where your customers are, if people are behind, so you're not getting surprised with like, oh, by the way, you know, Andrew didn't pay his policy again. Now here I am reinstating it. We give you that like, hey, Andrew's 5 days late, Andrew's 6 days late, Andrew's 7 days late. You have all that information at your fingertips. Additionally, we have to send, you know, notices to those customers like at 30 days, hey, you haven't paid, we intend to cancel your policy. But that's not all we have to do, right? Like that's just because that's what the regulations require. That doesn't mean that that's the be all end all. We also send, you know, emails, and we can send SMS if that's how you communicate with your customers, and just say like, hey, you know, we notice you're a little bit behind, click here to make a payment, rather than surprising them on day 30 with like, we're going to cancel your policy with this very scary letter. And how many, you know, I think the last year has taught us a lot of like people, as you know, like most of those cancellations aren't on purpose, right? Like a lot of them are sort of unforced errors, if you will, of like, we work with a lot of commercial auto folks. Like those people aren't at home to check their mail, right? Like they're on the road. And so it just sort of communicating and meeting customers where they are today is something that we take very seriously, and I think is differentiated from the other folks doing payments and financing today.
No, it's cool. Yeah, not picking on any traditional players, but it's just very what is expected. And it kind of just seems like it could be 1990. And what I'm kind of hearing too is an accessible platform. You know, I'm 36, so I kind of am comfortable living in both worlds. I can do the paper analog nonsense, whatever. But I know my younger buddies, you know, like my buddy Johnny Bransford, who I'm always bugging, you know, they expect things to be savvy. You know, they expect to have a portal. They expect it to look like, you know, an Amazon account or something. You know, they're not. Yeah.
You just got to meet customers where they are, right?
Exactly.
Like, we don't make the rules; the customers do. It's our job to respond to them.
The other thing, and where I like your sensitivity to the client, is for small businesses. I mean, they're watching that bottom line. They don't want a big chunk of money out. You know, to them, they're just kind of staying afloat, paying their bills, you know, moving money from here, moving money from there. And then if there's a lapse in coverage, it's a whole other headache, you know, trying to get them reinstated or trying to get another policy written 3 months later. You know, it's just another thing that's going to slow you down. So I think it's cool. Keep the information in front of you in real time. How did you stumble on this? Because I know second time founder, which is really cool. And you can kind of tell the way you're sort of making noise and networking. I was like, this guy's been here before. How did you stumble on premium financing? Were there any other, like, if you don't want to give it away, no worries, but were there any other like niches or anything else that kind of like got you interested and this was the winning horse, or was it pretty obvious?
Yeah, no, I mean, so, and that sort of answers your first question, which I didn't answer originally, which is, how long we've been doing this and when we started. So we're still a very young company and we have a lot of learnings to garner and put into our product and company. But we do have a slight, advantage in that we have started and sold in insurtech before. So we do know some folks and kind of a little bit how the industry works. Actually, what we know is like, we know that we don't know that much, and that's the most important thing, right? And we certainly don't know as much as about insurance as all the folks we work with, and we would never pretend to. And so we've been around since the beginning of this year, and we got here by really thinking through where there were opportunities in the insurance, opportunities and pain points in the insurance distribution landscape. We didn't want to go down the road, and very philosophically, not for any sort of like business model reason, of which that may exist too. But philosophically, we think that the best business models are going to be helping folks who already know a ton about insurance, right? And know folks' needs, who have been in the industry for a long time or have grown up in the industry, who have insurance is, as one of the oldest industries. And so it would be naive of us to come in and think we can reinvent this from the ground up. And so we're like, but there are things that we probably can help with on the technology enablement side. And so my co-founder Praveen Chakuri and I, we did our last company together, and we worked at another company together before that. We wanted to focus on helping people in the insurance world be more efficient, be more effective, get rid of some of the things that aren't as core to their knowledge and expertise around, identifying risk and selling insurance. And so we looked at a bunch of different areas. We looked into like, well, maybe we should, work in the claim space, and become a TPA and do all of that. And one of the things that we really sort of took away was, unlike say something like e-commerce, if you want to start an e-commerce store, and like, this is probably specifically relevant to you, Brett, in a way, because like, you started your own agency and are doing this from the ground up. Like if you were to have started an e-commerce business, there would have been a million tools that you could pull in. You could have done Shopify, you could have done, fulfilled by Amazon. There's probably something that like mails everything for you. There's something that handles your returns. Like it's just a matter of assembling the right pieces and then bringing them together and you sitting on top of it using your expertise. But in insurance, it's not, right? It's like you have to have your expertise and you have to build all this stuff yourself. So we're like, what are the building blocks that are like generalizable that folks can use and would make sense? So as people start building their own insurance distribution businesses or modernizing existing insurance distribution businesses, where they can just pull that infrastructure chunk in. And that's where payments made a ton of sense. It's a constant pain point for everyone. It is extremely labor intensive, right? Lots of brokers and folks spend a ton of time doing payments where they don't want to be. They want to be like, payments and insurance are very different, right? Like you should know insurance, not payments. We know payments. And so that's why, we came in and started there. And obviously premium finance is a related to payments and insurance. It's in a very important way people pay for insurance. And we realized like in order to offer that best experience that would actually solve people's problems, we needed to build that functionality ourselves. We couldn't partner with anyone out there today because the products simply aren't, what we saw at the level of creating the kind of experience we wanted to create. And that's how we got to where we are.
I think it was really smart. There's probably four horses, I'll call it, traditional players. There's one kind of medium player that I've seen put like a tech layer on top. And then there's whole companies just doing like one part of what you're doing. And I really like that you kind of have a blanket, in the approach. I'll give a shout out to our buddy, Pat Kloss. We were hanging out and we're talking about how it's a $7 trillion industry, but it's not if you do insurance, you're not touching that whole thing. You kind of have to pick your wedge to find your opportunity. I thought that was a really cool way to look at it. And I think the playing field's plenty big for what you're trying to touch and do. I think that's really cool. I think you picked it. And then Jason Calacanis, I always bug him, Twitter or whatever else, but he talks about like, what was it, a vitamin or a painkiller, and you're going right after a painkiller, so I think
very much a painkiller. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't have enough pain, I need to get more pain so then I understand the gravity of the situation.
But on that point, like one of the reasons we do payments, premium financing, and payables is because like there is no one person doing all that today, right? And it's like it makes it hard to be like, okay, I want to use XYZ for this, and I'm going to collect checks here. And now your reconciliation is tough, and you're spending all this time on stuff that, again, is not core to your business. And so by virtue of bringing all those things together, the real advantage is like, we give you a single source of service, right? And one-stop shop for all these really important things where you can just be like, great, cleave that part of my business off. I can sit on top of it. I can see it. I can manage it. I can inspect it, but I don't need to do it in the same way that I was before.
To your point, behind the veil, like 10 grand last year, 21 clients, so I do a few things. I consult here, I help out, I have my own little book of business. Part of the agency running was just paying taxes and getting organized, and like learning how to be an accountant, and it's interesting as you're starting, it is this kind of hodgepodge of different tools, different activities, making a spreadsheet. You can start, recruit life insurance guys for Fineo, starting recruit P&C guys for Smart Choice. And I think I can really be helpful because I'm like, oh, I've done this. I've done a website. I've done Gmail. I've done, here's all the things just to get out the gate. And it is crazy that like, it's quasi years of experience being fairly tech enabled just to get to the table. And then you still need to build the relationships. You still need the policies coming in. You still got to like do the job.
That's right.
I'm very jealous of the guys who worked at agency for 5-10 years, really have that institutional knowledge, and they hop out, but they still have to do all that stuff just to be in the game,
Totally.
There's a reason why the captives are kind of enticing, but they're going to set a ceiling,
That's right.
But it's really cool that you're covering these bases for the guys in a way that like people are going to feel comfortable, expect to operate today. I'm very bullish on like InsurTech for the next 5 to 10 years because there's a lot of stuff that's going to catch up. I'm very curious what's going to happen once the ecosystem kind of feels modern, but I think we're in a really cool prime time right now to catch the transition,
Definitely. We got a long way to go still. So a lot of work to do for everyone to do. Yeah.
I'm an optimist, man. I get myself in trouble. I'm always late or whatever else. I think I have enough time for everything. I think I can do everything, help everybody out. It's trouble. So I say 5 to 10 years, which probably means 15 to 20 if,
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm an optimist too. You got to be in our shoes.
Oh yeah, totally. No, I'm having a ton of fun though. And it was a happy accident. I kind of joke. I don't know if I told you a story, but I got like fired like 3.5 years ago, was annoyed. So I just started my own brokerage and started bartending more. And I was like in this like little canoe. And then Fineo came along, was like, hey, we need help. And I felt like it was like this little venture back battleship. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll go hop over here. Then I got to keep playing over here. And it's been awesome, being able to do some insurance nerd stuff, help a couple startups. I'm very thrilled and enjoying the industry.
That's great. Yeah, it's really fun.
I'm going to try to get this out basically a week. So today is October 15th. We just came off ITC. We can kind of sneak in a little ITC chat. So you were there, right? You're probably busy, going crazy, meetings, all that good stuff.
I was there, and I think I was both busy as well as sort of overwhelmed for post-COVID, big thing. And I definitely one afternoon just had to go and take a nap.
You should.
Like too many people, too much going on. I need to recoup a little bit. So I was there, but it was really great to get together with so many folks who had only met online or just people we hadn't seen in a long time.
To all the entrepreneurs out there, I zoned out for 20 minutes yesterday in the office, turned the lights off. It's the superpower. Don't be mad at yourself if you need to zone out for 20 minutes at some point.
Yeah. Mine was like 2 hours. So it's pretty, pretty bougie nap. Yeah.
Take it. That's so funny. Not to get too in the weeds, I stayed at the Luxor, which was a very funny experience. That worked out perfectly.
That's where I stayed too.
Oh, did you?
I'm surprised we didn't cross. Yeah, we didn't cross paths on this.
Balling on a budget. You gotta be frugal in these small
$32 a night. That's so right. Nice. Yeah.
It was like 1990s greatness too. I kind of loved it. I'll text you a picture later. I had a phenomenal view of the Sphinx from my window on the luxurious 15th floor.
Nice. Wow, bougie.
We've gone off the rails, but no, it was so fun. Like it was so fun meeting, buddies like yourself who I'd only known online and hanging out with VCs. And to me, I'm still kind of cracking up at all this because it's just fun. You know what I mean? And like we're building and just trying to be helpful. And I really do think there's some of the like smartest, nicest people I met trying to do work in the space, and they're ambitious too. And on the insurance side, kind of what you're enabling in a lot of ways, I joke, there's very few industries you can do genuine good and make really good money. I think insurance done right is fairly virtuous. It's really cool thing to be a part of, Yeah, I had a great experience at the conference and had a ton of fun representing Fineo. Our PowerPoint slide didn't work, so I just got a riff and I only used a minute and a half of the 3 minutes. So still kicked myself a little bit on that, but that's all right.
Oh no, all good. Yeah.
Had fun. So before you had Shelter, which got sold to Hippo, right? So that was the first startup. And then I saw Instacart ahead of that.
That's right. Yeah.
home services, and I remember hearing of that. I remember hearing of the acquisition. It's pretty cool to chat now, kind of
Yeah.
post, all that activity. But yeah, just taking care of homes, especially with all the investors now, all that kind of blanket money coming in. It's kind of interesting. You need somebody who can go in there and ensure, keep everything up to snuff, because it's not traditional. It's not
That's right.
one guy or one person. Now you have groups owning homes, which is interesting, which whole other
Yeah.
discussion. But it's cool that you saw that opportunity in the landscape. From Instacart, it's kind of crazy. How'd you jump over to kind of home, services? That's, to me, I mean, it's a different set of dots,
Yeah, it's a different set of dots, but it's also, behind the scenes not dissimilar from a tech
Okay.
platform standpoint. So, a lot of what we were doing was making sure people finding creating a product, finding a way for individuals like you and I as homeowners to take advantage of it, use it, and then interact with contractors, right? People on the platform, whether they were plumbers, electricians, whatever, making sure they got to the right place on time, making sure that their days were as full or as not full as they
Cool.
wanted them to be, making sure they got paid out quickly, all that kind of stuff. And so that's actually not dissimilar to Instacart, right? Where Instacart has grocery stores,
Good
or we
point.
had insurance companies. Instacart and Shelter obviously had individual customers.
Yep.
And then Instacart and Shelter had contractors, right? In the Instacart case, they were shoppers and delivery drivers, and in our case, they were home service professionals. So it's actually not dissimilar in the tech platform way. The problem and the product is different, but it's luckily enough goes wrong, and luckily or unluckily enough goes wrong in homes that getting up to speed on the expertise or finding the expertise around home services was not a huge challenge, because everyone has their own nightmare stories.
Yeah, and it's funny, but all the how-tos and the info out there are helpful, because it is common problem. So you have, like, I'll call it 10 to 15 major buckets, and you're like, these are product services. That's cool, man. It's a cool way you triangulated that. And to kind of round it out, it's funny, having been around, bartending, somewhat recently, whatever else. I have friends around the service industry, and like, they're happy to run those Instacart missions, and they're like, oh, I can make this extra money here, or I could see contractors happy to be able to kind of lock in and pick up extra money. It's pretty cool the way it's making things available in real time.
That's right. We worked with a lot of folks, at Shelter. We worked with a lot of folks who are, we're like, had been a GC, for example, and they're like, I'm done swinging a hammer. I want to go and, do something a little bit different and work on this app type work rather than, be at a job site at 5:30 all day. And so for that, those folks, it made total sense. And, on the insurance front with Shelter, that was like right at the beginning, I think, of the sort of move away from insurance companies, one, being kind of invisible and just doing repair and replace when necessary, right? With claims, to actually moving into predict and prevent. And I think we didn't see that trend when we started Shelter, but we definitely hit the nail on that, or like, hit that market, and as it was just starting. And credit to Hippo, they were very early into that. Hippo still, as talks a lot about being more than just home insurance and being home protection. And obviously, we shared that same vision, and so much so that we decided to sell our business to them. And our Shelter now lives on today as an entity of Hippo called Hippo Home Care.
It's cool.
So folks still get their home services and home checkups through Hippo if they want, which is great.
No, I think it's awesome. And I'll sell and work with people you like. We mentioned, ahead of time, seeing Asaf in Vegas and stuff, and him seeing like a really cool, down to earth dude. No, Hippo's trying really hard to use the data intelligently.
That's right.
I don't think it's easy. I don't think they have it solved today, but they're working on it, and it's making other people work on it, which is really cool.
That's right. And hopefully we'll get to a point. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I was going to kind of ramble about something else, but we still have a little meat on this bone, I think. We'll get to the Tom Cruise. What was that movie where they could see the future? Or they're
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. But, it's still very early days for, like, smart. I mean, it's very early days for all much smarter usage-based parametric type insurance, right? Less so in auto, more so in, property. But I think Hippo is really doing a great job of leading that charge. And I expect we will see much more usage-based parametric type insurance in the home space in large part a result of like this much more comprehensive look at the home, rather than like it's X years old in Y neighborhood in, with Z owner. It's like, are you having a party and do you want to up your coverage, right? Or what, your water heater is 30 years old and it's in the attic. Like that's actually very risky, right? We're going to raise your rates or whatever it may be, or prevent that. And so I think we will get to a really cool, interesting spot there.
Sorry, I'll selfishly plug my buddies over at Marble. They're doing some really cool gamified, in-app in website kind of conversational things where I think it can help us stay on top of, what's going on with our own ecosystems too. It's cool. The more granular, the more competitive you can get. Yeah, it's very cool. And then, so I'll wind back the clock a little more and I'll let you go before too long. I know running companies, probably not boring. So Levi Strauss before that, and then Peace Corps. Were you at Levi's for a little bit?
I was just at Levi's for a year.
You still have a lot of Levi's though. I feel like the Levi's would stay with you. You just buy them there and then you're good for
That's right. I think it was a 40% discount. So pretty good. I did Levi's right after. So after undergrad, I did the Peace Corps for a couple of years. And then I knew doing Peace Corps was pretty cool for a lot of reasons, but one of which being, it was very fun. One of which being, you get to kind of take a whole look back on the world. You have to leave in 2 years, right? And so you get to take a whole look back on the world and be like, well, where do I want to live? What do I want to do? And at that point, this was 2012 or 2013, all these really interesting things were happening in San Francisco. So I was like, well, I want to go there and work there and, do all this fun stuff. Levi's was a company that hired me sight unseen from Senegal.
Cool.
So I worked in like a rotational management tech program there, and got to, they brought me they enabled my move to San Francisco.
I like the sight unseen from Senegal.
Yeah, that's right. I'd never been. They're like, sure, that's fine. I think we Skyped then as pre-Zoom, obviously, and as a result, ended up there for just a year before jumping to Instacart when it was a very small startup in a house.
I promise I didn't maybe try to thread this, tie this knot together on purpose, but this is just connecting now. Levi's was the jeans and the shovels who really made the money during the gold rush.
That's right.
And
exactly.
SureTech, you're building jeans and shovels, man.
We're a picks and shovels business. That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
That's funny.
We've drawn that parallel internally before too.
Yeah, no, an OG SF startup right there. That
right,
like Anchor Steam beer, probably neck and neck for.
That's right. Those are the ones, and they made their money, selling pickaxes in a gold rush, right?
We're pretty far into the pod, so we can get extra weird. I was pretty active in the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, so it's pretty cool hearing about like 1840s LA, 1880s LA. I guess they called it Los Angeles, named it after angels because it was too gritty. They didn't want to name it after any saints. So it's pretty funny. Yeah. It's super. I love it. I'm third generation. I'm half Mexican. My Mexican side of the family has been here for, since the early 1900s. It's pretty cool. No, I love SoCal.
Awesome.
And I almost ended up in SF. I'm glad I stayed down here where I met my wife, obviously, highlight of the whole thing. But yeah, SoCal's pretty fun. I would say I can kind of see Ventura to San Diego, kind of in my mind's eye, and it's traditionally an outside salesman. You can't ask for much more than that,
Yeah, that's as good as it gets.
Easier barrier to entry for my wife. I recorded this one from home. She just turned around the corner.
That's funny.
That's good stuff though, man. I'm excited to watch you guys' journey. I'll definitely have to bug you for one of these in like a year. We'll follow up and you'll tell me how everything went according to plan. It was perfect, and
or not, and
just checking off a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it was something like that, or not at all, and I'll be asking you who the cool companies I should go work for are.
No, you're good. You're self-starter. You'll be all right. You got this.
Okay. I hope so. Yeah. But thank you very much for all of your feedback and support, and being a champion of Ascend. It means a ton. It's always good to meet new people, and like you said, insurance, there's a lot of great people, and we're really happy to have met you as one of those people. I appreciate
it. We'll keep having fun with it, and it's a serious, tough, competitive space, so I think we have to try to have fun and do things like make bucket hats, apparently. So
yeah, they're coming. I think next week they should be in. I'll check as soon as we get one. One's coming to you.
So silly and fun. I appreciate it, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll do this again. Thanks, Andrew, for your time.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks, everyone.